opening prayer, the one and only Reverend in our midst, Reverend Muyiwa Awe.
Bless your name and thank you for this wonderful day. Even as we gather in your name for the Delegates Conference, we pray, O God, that you fill us and empower us with the Holy Spirit, that everything that we're going to do at this meeting will be ordered by you. At the end, we go home or to our various places, will be blessed. Praising your name again. In Jesus' name. Amen.
Mr. Kunle Lawal Jinodu. Can you stand up for recognition, please? Many people don't know him. I want to hear. Also, I go to the Financial Secretary of the Association, recognizing Mr. Ayo Okunle. Also, I'd like to recognize the presence of our PRO. I saw him here. Oh, okay. Mr. Wale Ojo. These are the national officers there at the moment. My name is actually Ado Ekiti Delegate. I'm the Secretary General of this association. I'm not in the opposition. I only want to make sure that things are good for Christ's sake. Thank you very much. Let me recognize the presence of the 1973, 74, 78 set. 70, 74 set, the celebrating set. If you are here, what are you talking? Then I want to recognize the presence of 79, 84 sets. Members are here. And from there move to 70. There are so many sets here actually, I may not be able to pick them offhand, but the ones I can pick, I will do that. Let me recognize the presence of 73, 77 sets, which my president belongs to. 73, 78. Great. Do we have 80, 85?
That's partiality, sir.
Yes, I can see 72, 76. 76, 81. Thank you. We can
74, 79.
74, 79. 75, 80. 73 stroke 74 to 78. Can you stand up for recognition? We are carrying the day here. We are carrying and others. Okay, let me recognize the presence of the principal boys section also. He's a chief, but in the civil service you don't use chief. So I'll call him Mr. Atoba. Am I correct? Thank you very much. And then the presence of the 82, 87 set. Engineer Ayorinde. And Engineer Ayorinde is is Eniton. To me is Eniton Ogunrinde. We both know. Principal girls. I recognize you.
72.
82, 86. Okay. Recognize the presence of 77, 82 set here. Thank you. Okay, we have 78, 83 set here. Please help me call it the high table. My president, the one and only president, worldwide, global, anything you can call, national. He combines so much, a lot of positions. Let me welcome on this side of the table, Mr. Kunle Lawal Jinodu, the Vice President, Mrs. Bola Dada. Haven't done that, I'd like to call here Senior Olani Jayi Ola. Am I correct? Yes, you are here, sir. This side fits you, sir. So that there won't be side talks. You got it? Okay. Let me equally have the president, the chairman of 7984 is not yet here. But someone can actually represent him. Eh? Your senior prefect will represent him. Okay. On this side of the table, the senior prefect of 7984. Thank you, you're welcome. And what's the name, sir? Olawaye. Professor Olawaye, you're welcome. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I think we have to go on. And also, I did not recognize somebody while I was doing the recognition. I will do two things together concerning this. He's a big man. So, on that note, let me introduce the chairman of our Financial Council, Mr. Noti Omole, and at the same time, to this side of the table. And he has chosen to celebrate with Christ. So shall we just rise up and sing happy birthday to him briefly? You sit down. To you, happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to you. Hey, Pepe. Thank you. Moving on. Don't ask him. I have two apologies. One is from Professor Afolayan, and the other one is from Professor Esson. On the agenda, we have only one item, just to adopt the agenda. Please, let's go through the agenda and let us adopt it if it is okay by us. See no other dissenting voice. Can somebody move a motion for the adoption of this agenda?
Missing House 73, 74 to 78 cents.
Who is seconding him?
Seconded
By
Umi Adedara, 74, 79 said, Daliman out of Daliman.
79.
74, 79.
Go right away to the business of the day. In the business of the day, we will now listen with rapt attention to the President's opening address. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'll try to manage this address such that we don't spend a lot of time. We have a lot of issues to discuss after, based on the current goings in the affairs of Christ School. So, good morning, dear delegates. It is with utmost delight and pleasure that I welcome you to this 2024 Alumni Delegates Conference. I'm also happy to inform you that this year's Delegates Conference is the first organized by your Global Council of Presidents. I'm therefore here this morning before you as a representative of the Global Council who has been duly elected chairman. On behalf of the entire Worldwide Executive Council, I wish to especially welcome SET and state executives here present, or duly represented by their respective officials. But before I go on, I think we have, in the past 12 months, something that appear a bit worrisome, but I think it's the dictate of our time. We recorded so much number of people who returned to be with our Lord in the past 12 months. Amongst whom I will read names, not exhaustive. The first one is Dr. Lawrence Ado Ekiti, who is our former president, worldwide president. Professor Samuel Olufemi Olusi, Pa Benjamin Adedire Oluwole, Professor Adelano Rasaki Adetuji, Professor Olorunfemi Olaofe, Prince Adebayo Adegoke Agbede, Mrs. Falilat Adarabiere, Engineer Abayomi Oke, Engineer Olushola Solomon Akinleye, Chief Ebenezer Oluyomi Obaweya, Professor David Dada Oyewusi, Mrs. Folusho Obadofin ní Ogunmakinde, Mrs. Olabimpe Edna Adewumi, Richard Olufemi Obatola, Oluremi Itunu Akesorotan, Professor Adeniyi Ademola Afonja. These 16 names are the few that came to my attention, and in the last 24 hours, I think I've also seen about another 2. I'm sure these are not very good news, but you can query God. So I'll call on us to observe a moment of silence in honor of all the departures. I will ask. May they all, and those who have not been mentioned in this list, rest in perfect peace. Amen. The good news on this occasion is also the announcement of our members who were recently elevated to the status of professors. I have recorded here 9 professors, and I believe most of the names on the list are those within Ekiti or Ado Ekiti or Unad EXU promotions. I have not taken records of those different parts of the world. So I have here Professor Folusho Oshundari, who is here present. Professor Olushola Omotoye, Professor Peter Adiloju, Professor Mrs. Olubumi Akinwumi, Professor Christiana Bimbo Bankole Elusiyan, and Professor Foyeke Ibinilua. Congratulations to all of us.
Thank you.
Please join me in congratulating our homecoming hosts, the 1979-84 set, celebrating their 40th year of graduation from Christ School, and the 1969-74 set, who have also returned to the school to celebrate their 50th year. These 2 groups have made this year's alumni homecoming very memorable. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to use this occasion as a first place to render our report card. You will not recall that I told you during the electioneering campaign in 2020, and the same was repeated in 2023, about the 3 cardinals charting our dealings in the association's affairs. I repeat, The activities, we said we're going to embark on activities that will affect the school. Two, the activities that will affect the students, and the things that we can do for the association and the members. I believe you recognize that school recorded unprecedented progress in the past 4 years. Donations during this period, the student affairs were attended and the alumni, including the members, received attention. I'm very grateful to God for the development in these 4 years. This year again, 2 new projects have been donated by one, the 1979-84 set, a 2-wing teachers' quarters have been redesigned and constructed as a donation to the school in commemoration of the 40th year of graduation. In similar vein, the 1970-74 set also redesigned and constructed the Harding House Masters Quarters as their donation to the school in commemoration of their 50th anniversary. Both projects have been completed and will be commissioned later today. On the alumni affairs, I am also pleased to inform you that the Global Council that you approved have been constituted since 2023 AGM. At its inaugural meeting on November 5, 2023, the Council had an election to select its chairman. The President, Nigeria, Africa Geo-Global Zone was unanimously elected as the chairman. This is my very self. The President Renewal Agenda automatically became the Global Council's project. Now, on a not too good note, but we had some welfare interventions during the last 12 months. I will not dwell too much on them, but not without mentioning the unfortunate accident that took the life of one student. If I remember the name, I think it's Marvelous. Marvelous. I want to thank, I want to use this occasion to thank everyone for rallying your ESCO in support, in providing some support to the parents. This one was painful in the sense that the boy is the only child of the parents. And secondly, the parents had this child after having waited 17 years. You know, but we have done so much. We will not bring the child back, but we have supported the parents in this period. Now to the big issue, the renewal of high school. I want to encourage us to remain steadfast. I know you are all aware of the setback we are currently experiencing. I agree that you have every reason to be pained by the circumstances surrounding the lockdown. You will recall how enthusiastic we all were when our leaders initiated the return of the school. We will also remember how we encouraged ourselves even when the return of the school did not happen as planned. We still set out a plan to develop the school, and we're still doing it. As part of the strategy, we presented the renewal plan to you at the last 2 AGMs and the establishment of a financial council for approval, which you did. What was said to us was that a financial council was needed to coordinate all fundraising exercises apart from the annual dues, to fund the school's renewal master plan and other activities into perpetuity. But all of this couldn't get into full swing, causing the school to miss tremendous opportunities in everything required to run a school. I enjoin us to continue to raise finances, especially to maintain the infrastructure and the environment. After all, despite the setback, we are still delivering at least 2 projects annually to the school. The Financial Council will continue to reach out to you for funding contribution, and I think the chairman of the Financial Council would have some words with us this afternoon. The Global Council and all your continental expos will continue to rely on you for support in discussing all matters that may be brought up at this honorable gathering this afternoon or this morning. Some of these issues have generated heated debates on our social media platforms and other avenues of interaction by the alumni community in the last few months. Kindly bear in mind as we deliberate here that these matters require our agreement to be able to present a consensus at the AGM later today. Dear delegates, while much is still required as we raise substantial financial backing for the enormous task of executing projects in the school, renewal projects, we are encouraged already by the support that you have given. Finally, I plead with you to allow the sense of responsibility and order, the hallmark of our grooming while at Christ School, to guide our conduct throughout this homecoming. Let our focus be only on the charge to commit to renewing the school, bearing in mind that our eyes are on the centenary when Christ School has become the most sought after school by generations, even yet unborn. So it is no stopping, no waiting. The truth of the matter is that irrespective of what, nobody will do it for us. We are the ones that attended Christ School. We are the ones that put stickers of Christ School on our vehicles and our properties. And we are the ones that have told everybody that care to listen that Christ School is the only school created by God. I wish you all happy deliberations. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. President, for that detailed opening address. We hereby move to the minutes of the delegates meeting of the Delegates Conference of year 2023. Before moving to that, let me quickly apologize for the distortion or for the short or the small distortion we had before the beginning of the conference. From Dr. Kayode Arobundade, the agenda was adopted and the adoption was moved by Dr. Kunle Babalola, seconded by Honorable Ayo Oladele. Under the business of the day, the President's opening address. He advised we take a look at the minutes of 2022 conference to form a basis for discussion. Set and branch ESCO members were welcome. A minute silence was observed for departed souls. The names are there. I want to save time, so I'm trying to gloss over it here. Appointees in new government establishments were congratulated. Mr. Dele Alake, a minister, DIG Abiodun Alabi of the Nigerian Police Force, the Controller General of Immigration, Karo Ura Adekoju, Professor Bolaji Aluko and Professor Tedela were also commissioners in Ekiti State Government. Mrs. Bimbo Mundein Salu, SSG Lagos State. Mr. Niyi Adebayo Ayolawande, a new Minister for Youth and the Homecoming set of 1978-83. The conference actually marks the end of Mr. President and the ESCO's tenure. Hence, the scorecard of the ESCO were listed as follows, among others. We can go on to read that on our own to save time. Under Alumni Affairs, Constitution Review was evaluated but will still be looked into. Intervention. This was done to the widow of an alumni who passed and needed accommodation. Another one had accident and lost her business. She was linked up with Hope Stationery because she's a bookseller. Lekon Olatawura was assisted by purchase of prostheses to the tune of 8 million naira only, while Shigiola Yemi was assisted for brain surgery at UCH, University College Hospital, Ibadan, but later we lost him. The renewal agenda is no longer in contention according to the president. He reiterated the 90th anniversary celebration to span 6 months. The renewal will go for 10 years up to the centenary anniversary. The Financial Council is to manage activities around fundraising. The alumni and delegates were appreciated once again and encouraged to be committed to the school renewal programs. Minutes of delegates meeting 2022. Matters arising under the minutes were discussed. We discussed on the issue of the new school. The administration remains a naughty issue, and up till now it is still a naughty issue. Between the EAC, that is the Anglican Communion, and alumni. The leadership of EAC has not agreed to sign MOU with the alumni. We are supposed to find a framework to work together, but they are misinterpreting our commitment for ownership and equity. The alumni is encouraged not to relent but to build our school, as some of these people did not attend Christ School. You can see same thing coming up in the president's speech also. The Financial Council updates. The composition presented as a 2022 is of 2 members per global geographical zone, with the focus to raise and administer funds. The following committees and a few others will be in place: Project Committee, Assets, School Recruitment, and Fundraising. So far, as of last year, only 5 sets and 70 members contributed 5 million and 25,000 naira development levy respectively. Totaling, please, that one is totally, not totally. Oh, well, totally is correct as well. Totally, about 7 million naira out of about 3 billion naira budget. The Financial Secretary and Treasurer are charged to be more aggressive to drive annual deals. Approval was sought for external auditor. The Assets and Facility Committees proposes to convert unused buildings to staff accommodation, not hotel. EAC and alumni matters. As part of the engagement efforts made by ESCO, a meeting was held in Lagos where the Bishop and the Chancellor met with some notable leaders of the alumni. The Bishop agreed to prepare the MOU they will fine-tune and sign. After this, a lot of other petty issues came up and were alluded for their reluctance to sign. Draft constitution issues as it affects. The new constitution was deliberated upon not to have recognized or taken care of some elements. Further review was advised. Alumni Hall. The history of the Alumni Hall was narrated to have dated back 1969. In the homecoming of 2006, the Platinum Club, led by Baba Ijo Ogukwa, used the seed money available for the hall construction. In 2008, money meant to furnish the library was also diverted to the hall. For now, it is no longer a contemporary structure. It is recommended for redesign. Dr. Fayemi Kayode was appreciated for the roof repair and reconstruction that he made on the Alumni Hall because the roof was cutted away.
President and distinguished members, as at the time of this report, Barrister Ronke Adeyemi have not been appointed as a SAN, so we should revert to our status at the time of that report. Thank you.
I think it should be better to attach this of an
The 6th day in guest session was constructed by 1976-81 set.
76, 81.
Not 71, 76.
For the election, it was reported that it was well conducted and free. Okay, the names of the electoral committee members I feel should be mentioned.
Sean, before we adopt, say no. Can somebody raise a motion for us to move that agenda? Somebody to move that motion. We have a lot of people in the house. Tell us your name. Bumi Adedara.
I so move.
You have moved one. We want someone else. Your name? Semiola Tawura moved. I know I said whoever is seconding. Shola Oyebode, 82 sets. Great. So moving on, matters arising under these minutes will take for discussions. We actually have one major discussion on matters arising. We have to center our discussion around this, and it is about the school. The school, the alumni, and the church. The school, the alumni, and the church, and and the diocese. So we just take it like that. We want to have a robust and exhaustive discussion on this. As I was taking these minutes, one of our very passionate, she's already an elder too, she can be classified an elder, came in, and that is Mrs. Ura Ajibade. So we have a former principal just walked in, and the chairman of the electoral body of 2023, one of our elders too, Prince Wole Akinyede. And I have we have in our midst, we have not had him in our midst for some time, but I can see we have in our midst Dr. Jadi Babatola. Thank you. As we go on, we take more recognitions. Within the expo, let me welcome to this conference the Akapo of our time. Anyway, our treasurer Otumba Dipo Jadi. Please make sure you register as an attendee to this conference. Please, we have the registration sheet at the entrance there. Thank you. So, like I said, okay. Also, amongst the people that were promoted as professors, we read them. The people that were elevated in their other areas of endeavor, we're supposed to mention that. So let it be on record in the president's speech that Barrister Ronke Adeyemi was equally elevated to the position of an SAN, Senior Advocate of Nigeria. He happens to be the legal advisor of this escort. Thank you. So we go to the new school, or to the school. The state of our school. I wish it's the president that will report this while I take notes. I will co-join him in some areas too, so that you people, you will know the position of our school at the moment. It is not encouraging as we speak, and that is why we are asking, or that is why we have written a letter as a global entity to the government for the school takeover. Don't be surprised. We have tried all our best to engage the diocese. We've held meeting in Lagos. The president has personally come to Ado Ekiti to hold some meeting with the bishop. Some were honored, some were dishonored. We have done all we could do. We have gone ahead into offering scholarship for students in order to attract them. We have engaged parents. We have engaged teachers. We turned in the names of our BOT and BOG. They were inaugurated, but suddenly they were disbanded too, without recourse to anybody. After that, we realized that there was a gimmick or a game of setting disharmony amongst the alumni by one committee being established or being formed by the bishop, whereby the likes of Dr. Tanimo Wu, Mr. Tunde Akilo, Barrister Adeyemi, and a few others were brought into this committee without recourse to alumni. We feel this is not appropriate. Those people, by the time they consulted with ESCO or the president was not aware of this, and no alumni is aware of this. You don't shave someone's head behind him. And Farile Yolori. So eventually, that committee could not really see the light of the day, so to say. Also, a management committee or one people were, so the BOT or the BOG, people were being replaced and taken out and stuff, even without recourse to the alumni. This is not the kind of administration that can take us anywhere. So because of this, we went ahead. We wrote a letter, and I have the copies of all this here, but I'm sure most of you must have read it on the platform or discussed such. But I will invite the president to actually tell us the story, so that you will see our own side properly, and we will be able to have our discussions around such. We are at this junction, we are not pleased. We have not stopped showing our agitation, and we will continue to show it, because Christ School is our brand. We are the ones carrying the sticker. We are the ones wearing the face cap. We are the ones wearing the t-shirts. We are the ones coming here to invest. This is not what we deserve. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. Let me start by saying that yes, we made efforts to get government to return the school as a private school. It turned out that the government, in its wisdom, decided to return the school to the diocese. We did not protest, and we did not pretend that we didn't know that the school was taken from the diocese at the issue. So, and that was fine. But the government then, realizing the efforts we put into getting the school back, decided that we should have a working arrangement. That was the intention of the government. working arrangements between the diocese and the alumni to bring the school back up to the kind of standard and culture that we all pass through. But it turned out to be, I called it, where did I do this one? I called it a misadventure on our part in calling for the school return. If we understood how I wouldn't say Anglican generally, because we have Anglican institutions in Lagos that are running properly under the management of alumni. So it's only our own. If we understood, at the time the government or one of us, one of our elders, who was then the commissioner for education, advised that we could not continue to press for the return of the school as an alumni body, but that we should go and line up the diocese in the project. And that was Chief Kehinde Ojo. He was then commissioner for education. We went to the diocese, but they were not interested. They were not interested, they were not prepared for anything. Thereafter, the Secretary General became the Commissioner for Education. He also worked on the project. And then after, Eniola Ajayi also worked on the project. In the end, the government decided to give it to the diocese. But that did not even worry us so much. We quickly put ourselves together because we knew there was going to be some working arrangements around it. And so we decided to form some of the structures that we have put in place to be able to manage the school. The Archbishop of Omotunde decided to do the government's recommendation. He actually inaugurated a board of governors and a board of trustees that had equal number of alumni and the Anglican, the diocese people. But Omotunde was on his way out at the time. He left in February of 2021. February of 2021. And then we had a lacuna of about 6 months when there was no bishop. So in August of the 2021, this new bishop came. We don't know, because we have not heard from him. All he did was to make sure that no recognition was given to any of the structures. No recognition, nothing. We were not told that they've been disbanded. Even if they were not disbanded, I think their tenure is almost expiring anyway, without doing anything in that period. And every effort to get him to do something failed. So we're at the point now that we do not have a choice but to go back to government to say the design that we had for the school is not working because there is no cooperation with the sole owner of the school. And so we decided after all efforts to go back to the government. And the government agreed that okay, they can have a look at it. And at some point, sometimes they called the alumni, they called the diocese to a meeting. And we already, I think we posted it before, we already outlined some of the reasons why this is important. Christ School has lost out big time. And unless we do something, Christ School will eventually trail behind other schools in the Ekiti State. And I tell you, and that's why they have said, yes, it is painful, but you know, we are not brought up, we are not groomed in Christ School to fight like dogs. You know. So this is all we know to do. Press and press and press until something happens. But I'll tell you here, Dr. Itsueli started the last part, took over the last part of the negotiation. And what he had with the government then, I don't know whether they betrayed us or not, what he had with the government then was, look, we will put 4 billion naira on the table to be sourced by himself, the number of members of the alumni, and possibly a loan. Return the school, shut down the school, remove all these day students in the school and distribute them to model schools. And at that point in time, even the governor then had agreed to take them to those model schools because government was actually building model schools at the time. But all of a sudden, government came back to say, no, we're giving the school to the diocese. Yes, naturally, some people got disappointed and slowed down. Of course, now, government did not agree to remove them from the school for refurbishment. Nothing happened. And we said, okay, if that is the case, we will continue. Let's go back to the drawing board. If you inaugurate the committees, Board of Governors, Board of Trustees, we can now come together and do a fresh plan. Because on the back of that fresh plan that we came up with the Financial Council as a banker to the alumni body to leave all of us. But as the time grows, nothing happened. Two things have happened to us now. One, we lost the opportunity of refurbishing the school as a whole project, wholesale, by that structure. And today, if we were thinking of 4 billion in 2019, that's 5 years ago, in 2024, assuming we were returned to what we were looking for, 4 billion will not go anywhere anymore. We'll be talking about 20, 40 billion to achieve the same thing. In the period, some of the philanthropies that were standing bold to support, to supply demand, some of them are even late now. Some of them are late. So we lost the opportunity to do that. To make the matter worse, the World Bank and other agencies have moved into Nigerian environment. They have now, the federal government and the World Bank address have now formed something about, similar to what they have about primary school. They have now moved into something about secondary school. I think the agency in the Christian is now, no, I'm not sure it's Agile. That's a new one.
Agile is for girls.
Yes. But
All secondary schools.
there's a new funding arrangement. Now, what you find is that the people you call Shukuru Pepe are now benefiting. These agencies are now giving Ado grammar schools and the rest hundreds of millions here and there and there and there and there doing projects and things like that. But high school will not benefit anymore because you are a private school. Because you are now a private school, you will not benefit anymore. So we thought that the best way to get Christ school back up is to return to the government. Ekiti State government also has programs for schools. The federal government has programs for schools. The World Bank is channelling funding into schools through government arrangements. All of this, we are out of it. So the only way for Christ school to move on is to find some sort of arrangement to get into arrangement where you benefit from all of those things. And that is where they are right now. I am not able to tell us what the position will be because in some direction, government seems to agree with us that how could you return a school 5 years ago? The government students in the schools will have only one set left to leave in June of next year. In that 5 years, this school has only been able to get to 200 students in this whole infrastructure that we have. And there is nothing in sight. Once government students leave this school, the place will be empty. The girls section will have no purpose anymore. Now, in the course of all of that, apart from the struggle to divide us, imagine you now invite my classmates, the chairman of the home home branch and the rest, and Dr. Kenyola Taura and a few others to a committee to manage Christ School. Thank God, those people came to say, Mr. President, are you aware of this development? I said, no, I'm not aware of it. So in their own decision, they went back to the meeting of the bishop to say, what happened to the boards that were inaugurated? Because you did not talk about it, you brought it. When no answer came forth, Tunde Akilo was made the chairman of that committee. Tunde Akilo went straight to the bishop and resigned. I can't do this. Because at the end of the day, what the man was planning.
He's a seasoned permanent secretary.
Yes.
So he knows his own neighbors.
What the man probably was planning was a situation where a fight will start amongst us.
Divide and rule.
We will call those ones names. We will call them all manners of things, and then some people will walk away and say we don't want to be a member of this association anymore. That is the situation we have found ourselves. I have no answer. I have no answer. I thought, and I will report that one to you here now. I thought that we were going to have a sort of resolution 2 days ago when the way of Ado Ekiti summoned me. Apparently, they are going to report the alumni to the way of Ado Ekiti that we are doing we are celebrating homecoming, we are doing projects, and we did not carry Bishop along. Yes, truly, they came, I think it was the secretary that called me, that Bishop was offering to take a letter to the governor so that governor will come and commission our project.
On behalf of the 48th celebrating set, 7984.
I said, how is that his problem? How does it concern him? And he said, okay, so what do we do? I said, the easiest, the shortest way to go is to look for the landlord of the Christ School premises, which is the way of Ado Ekiti. So they got me to talk to the way of Ado Ekiti, and I spoke with the KBC again, and he saw his chiefs, the side chiefs are here today. Spoke to the way of Ado Ekiti, and the man agreed. But I don't know when information or the discussion happened. As I was coming into Ado Ekiti on Thursday, I got a call from the and when I got to, he said I could see him, so I went in the night. When I got to him, he said somebody came to him and said somebody said they were doing something, they did not carry him along. I said, we will not carry him along, it's not on our side, it's not with us. I told him straight away. When I said it, a little bit I was, I said, I hope he is not trying to pull out of the
Information.
And he said, okay, he would come into it and suggested that I should go to the bishop to let him know that I have arrived at it for the homecoming and try to. I thought that we had a conversation around solving the impasse. And truly after yesterday's conference, I went to the bishop in the house. And I got in and I said, look, KBC called me and said, I will see you. What for? He looked at me, didn't say anything, and he said, look, at the point I said, tell me, at least I'm coming here. If you arrest me here and now nobody will know that I'm here. But luckily for me, I had somebody who is sitting there in the car outside.
You know we are strategists.
Outside. And he started and went on and on and on. This is God's job, this is God's business, this is God's work, this is this and that and that and that and that. At the point I got really, I said, leave God out of this thing, sir. He said, but God, I know it is God. Even your cathedral is church's house, is God's house. But it was not built without thinking. It was not built without planning. It was not built without architectural designs. What is it about Christ School that we cannot plan anything? He went on and on and on and on. At a point in time, I talked about it, I said I will leave. To make sure that somebody got the understanding of what transpired. When I got to the car, I opened the door. My friend was in the car. And I looked at him, he already suspected, he's a journalist, already suspected what I know. And I looked at the bishop, I said, yes, sir. Conceptually, nothing we spoke about. Strategy, nothing we spoke about. Take it that you and I did not have this meeting. If we have opportunity, we'll talk later. And that was the end. So, I wouldn't know, but I think we will continue to do what we do. We will continue to be respectful. We will continue to support the school because the school is more important to us than anything else. And I told you, the school will outlive all of us, even you, Bishop, will build this place. One day. He gave me 2 bottles of wine. He even took it personally himself to the car. You know. But that is where we are now. I am not able to suggest anything at this point because the matter is still with the government. The government set up a committee to review all our papers. At a point, they called for all the projects that are done in the school because we insisted to the government that everything in this school was built by the students of this school, including even the hostel that we slept, because the founders of the school used the students to do most of the work. Yes. Apart from now, when we now turn to become alumni, we keep coming back every now and then to do something in the school. We have given all of those things, including photographs, to the government. So we're waiting for them. The committee, and what we believe the government is waiting for this homecoming to go before announcing their decision. I don't know where they'll go, but we don't want to do anything and we don't want to suggest anything until they come up with a final decision. That is where we are. So, in the whatever deliberations, like I said, let's be responsible about how we conduct ourselves around this time. When we see the government position, we'll come back to the very careful. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. You have heard the president. Yeah, we're coming to that. We know why we set it up was to have comments from people. We'll come to that. There was a discussion around a few things yesterday. And when that discussion was ongoing, I now told the people involved, I said, by the time we get to delegates conference today, I have a few documents that I'm going to make public so that we will not be talking as if it's a fluke. Bishop Omotunde actually signed an MOU with the government. And this is a copy of the MOU. At the back page here is the signature of Dr. Fagbeiro and Right Reverend C.T. Omotunde. For the benefits of the people on Zoom, I want this document zoomed so that they can view it. That's the signature. We didn't forge it. Are we okay? And this is it. Now, other signatories are Evangelist Folusho Daramola, who was the Honorable State Commissioner as of that time of Education, Commissioner for Education, Ministry of Education, Science and Technology. This is the document. And it will please you to hear that the governor was the secretary to the state government then. The present governor, the current governor, bowed. And his signature is here. Oh, sorry. Abiodun Oyebanji. Am I correct? Yeah. His signature is here. It was the SSG to government then. What more do we need? I had great opportunities because I superintended over the Ministry of Education, Science and Tech. And history has it that for 3 commissioners in succession at that ministry, they are Christ school students. Ambassador Dr. Eniola Ajayi was the first. Baba Kehinde Ojo was the second. Jide Egunjobi happens to be the third. And I am. In the meeting we held in Lagos with the bishop, this was what the bishop came up with to discuss with us. And I will read it out. Vision for Christ School. I want everybody to listen with rapt attention. The mission, he said, is to revamp the image of the school to meet the aspiration of the founding father as mission school par excellence. To have a vibrant board of governors who will work in synergy with mission-oriented educationists to bring back the lost glory of the school. 2, to nurture the school handed over to us to an enviable and superior status, to be one of the best international schools in our generation as an heritage to generations to come. 3, to relate with the alumni of the school and solicit for their cooperation to uplift the standard of the school in anticipation of their continual contributions. 4, to solidify source of income to the school to meet good condition of service for the staff and enable students to attend the school at affordable cost. 5, to renovate dilapidated structures, construct modern edifices to meet modern 20th century secondary school structure. 6, to put in place sporting facilities and instructors. 7, to decorate the school compound by the service of horticulturists and improve the road network of a school. 8, pray to improve the status of the school to comprise a nursery to primary school, secondary school, and eventually a first-class mission university. 9, to produce God-fearing, honest, dedicated, and reliable citizens who are well-rooted in God's word as image maker for their generation as men / women of integrity and highly disciplined personality. In order to achieve our goal, the Synod approved Chief Mrs. Abike Balogun to be the chairman of Education Board, Venerable Professor S.O. Shitu as Secretary, Venerable S.O. Olajobi as Assistant Secretary, with the following people as members of the committee: the Reverend Canon Dr. Ayola, Honorable Tunde Oke, Dr. Mrs. Titi Falano, and Chief Yebisi Oluwadusi. Signed, Right Reverend Andrew Ajayi. I don't know if we can capture. That is what I have. Moving on. When the president was speaking, he said Dr. Isueli was the one that took the last shot of the return and handover of the school. This is a letter written by Dr. Udiumo Isueli to His Excellency Chief Ayo Fayose, the Executive Governor of Ekiti State, as of 16th August 2016. In 2019. He said, handover of Christ to Ado Ekiti to the original works. You will recall from the history, we were told that by Baba Kehinde that we need to, tag along the diocese. But Dr. Israeli went further. The alumni at these difficult times. In addition, we all thank you for your support and care for our school, which you amply demonstrated by your presence and attendance of my installation as the National President of the Alumni Association in Ado Ekiti on Saturday, 5th March 2016. On that memorable occasion, you enlivened the entire gathering when you stated your support and commitment to handing over the school to the original owners. You gladdened all our hearts. Your Excellency, thank you very much. Our Lord will grant you wisdom in your running the state. Written, both to thank you for your ongoing support and to state that on behalf of both the Alumni Association and the Anglican Communion of Ekiti, we are now ready to commence the process of requesting the actualization of your promise of handing over of the school. We therefore request you kindly let us know the process and procedure that you wish us to adopt to actualize the handover. We cannot thank you enough as we await your feedback and continue to pray for your success in running Ekiti State. Yours sincerely, the Right Honorable Chevalier Uduimo Itsueli, KSG OON National President. Signed and sealed. That's a copy of the letter. You can see a red pen there. That's the governor's right. Thank you. So, discussions will go around this. Dr. Babatola 1. No, we'll give numbers. And as we call the numbers, Dr. Babatola 1, Mrs. Wura Ajibade 2, Abe, is your hand up? Abe 3. What's your name, please? Mr. Ajaja 4. And I think for now we have that. So as I call your number, you speak and we take notes. Thank you very much. Number 1, you may wish to come forward in order to be able to use the loudspeaker.
Distinguished members of the executive, our leaders, the celebrant of this year's homecoming and distinguished alumni. I want to thank you for the opportunity to participate in this. I want to plead with every one of us not to have a frown nerves. I want to plead with the president. I know you have been insulted. I know you have been undermined. I know that the executive have done so much. At one time or the other in the past, I was also part of those working on this. I know the alumni has done great things to bring Christ School to where it is today. We were boys following Babo Gukwagu in those days with Auntie Auntie Ura, when they all come on annual basis from America and other parts of the homecoming. And I knew at that time they had the arrangement in place. They went through what Christ School needed to be salvaged, and all the ideas came up on how we are going to revive the school. I knew the effort. So those who are following you must have known the effort. Even when the grant shifted to Bembe and from Bembe, and there was a lull after a while and all that, I know the effort of the alumni. But I don't want us to be thinking the way our passion, our zeal is driving us. We also have to think the way the people we are dealing with, the way they are also thinking. Thank God, as the registrar of Ajayi Crowther University, I've come to have, I now have a better understanding of how the church operates. And for us as alumni, if we are going to have an headway at all, we must know how the church operates. We have good intentions. We want to do it better. We want to make the school the best. But I'm telling you, you can't go forward unless you are with the church in this matter. Unless you are just returning the school back to the government. St. Andrews College, now the first tertiary institution in Nigeria, now Ado Ekiti University, was sponsored by the Sakoba, the Andreans. They don't have more than one representation today on the governing council of Ado Ekiti University. And the church is doing everything possible to silence the alumni there. That's the same repetition you are seeing here with Christ School and the church. They don't want alumni to have any powerful role to play other than bring money, let us spend it. That is church way of dealing. The bishop will not allow you to give them ideas or to control them. They all want to just bring what you want to give us. We will decide how we are going to spend it. That is Anglican for you. I don't know whether they do it in Catholic. And until you have this understanding of how you are going to review your strategy in managing them and your relationship with them, the worst we can do is to return the school back to the government. We can't achieve more than that. Although if we do that, we'll still be able to have our engagement with the management on a regular basis, where we can still give our input, but we will not have control over the school. But the original plan of the alumni in reviving the school is to be able to have impact, like Avad alumni, like Elton College alumni, where we can even be participatory as stakeholders in managing the school. And I was thinking it was going to work. But when I was observing from far, and I now realized you are having problems even with your good intention, I started thinking, what is happening? And just then I now joined an Anglican institution, Anglican-owned institution. I now saw the way they are running their thing. And I now understood that there's no way you can have a way out, a leeway, unless you start thinking the way the church is thinking. And now you can redefine your relationship with them, engage them, and ask them, what role are we going to play in the running of the school affair? Maybe, I didn't even, it was when you started talking about your engagement with the we and the rest that I nearly dropped the idea. I wanted to suggest that maybe you have a sort of a meeting with them where all you are going there to do is to say, this is what alumni has been doing for the school. What do you want us to be doing with you now that you are the original owner and you have taken it over? And when I now saw the other efforts you have made, I was now thinking, will it even be necessary to sit down with them and still be re-educating them? But one thing is certain, they have their own set mind. No bishop will ever share control of any, I've come to realize that, any institution with any alumni. No bishop, and that is the foundation of, I've come to realize that that's Anglican way of attitude. I've read books about them, I've gone into files. So our idea of reviving the school using the Avad alumni approach, Elton approach will not work. Though is a better approach of developing an institution. The only other way is how can we engage the church? Because we have gone too far. We are the ones who said this school should be taken over. But legally, this school does not belong to us. We are just stakeholders. And that stakeholders can only be defined in law by the level of acceptance that the Anglican give us, unless otherwise defined by government or the law courts. There's no other way we can go do better. And we'll continue to explain to everybody all our effort, all our struggle to make the school better. Because we passed through there, we so much love the school to be better than what it is now. But the church will not give it. Give us that 1 inch of control that we needed to do it better. I just want to advise us, therefore, to start rethinking what will be our role in the future of the school. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for that beautiful contribution. Yes. Number 2. Please, I want us to manage our time. Commissioning is 1 o'clock. We are already 12 noon. We didn't start early enough. We were to start at 9. We started at 10:30. So it is our fault. We have lost 1.5 hours. We are not struggling for any control of the school. We are not struggling for ownership, but we are stakeholders and we want to play a role. Thank you. It's already known.
Good afternoon, everybody. Mr. President, and the members of the executive, the House in general, the Council. I don't have much to say. The first thing is to make a request that
Please, no side talks, please. Let's listen.
the first thing is to make a request that all the things that, the love letter from the diocese,
Is the mic not working?
the love letter or the promissory note from the diocese, who they plan to be to the school, like do the road, do that. Please, can you publish a copy on the Christ School WhatsApp? Then we can go home and print, right? So that's the first thing. The second thing, which I believe is even more important, hinges on whatever you give us. I want us to leave this place today agreeing that there was an MOU. Please stop saying there was no MOU. Sorry? I said we should stop saying there was no MOU. We are shortchanging ourselves. Look at Christ School like a brand. Let's use ourselves. Right? My father was there. His family were there. The officiants, Alaga Iduro, Alaga Ijoko, were there. We concluded the matter, right? But after we finished, my husband was to promise to take me to Maldives or Acapulco, somewhere fancy. Like France, Sinatra, fly me to the moon, right? So, your husband now, we have gotten married. Let's go. I don't have to fly you to the moon. Does that stop the marriage? So why do we say there was no MOU? Why? What did Archbishop Omotunde sign? What did Dr. Fabero sign? What did Mr. Abiodun Oyebanji sign? So whether we have this one, that he did not fly me to the moon, the marriage exists. So, disabuse the mind of anybody and everybody that there was no signed MOU. The one we did not sign was a contract to take me to the moon. No, I didn't go to the moon. I'm on the face of the earth. Americans will say, if you cannot make lemon, make lemonade. So this lemon is not working, make lemonade. Please drink. So, we should not live here to tell the world there was no MOU. The most legal part of the process is in our hands. And that was where it was stated that government required this board. We have never had board of trustee. And you will see that my position originally was that if they're going to cancel board of trustee, it's fine. You cannot just walk all over it, because everything board of governor would do hinged on the approval of the board of trustee, which we never had. So take it back to the government, Council Board of Trustees, let it remain with the, or you cannot do it away from the government. So don't leave here telling the world there was no MOU, because all the papers presented by alumni, Kemi Bolarinwa did all the typing. I was in that committee. I still have all those things on my computer. So how did we come up with Dr. Fagbero? How did we come up with all the people that were there and they took pictures?
Praise the Lord. I'm Mr. C. Ade, a retired principal of Christ School. The president and all other protocol duly observed. What I want to say concerning our schools nowadays is that, number one, what has happened to us is happening to some other churches. If I can guess, when they discovered that they could not handle the school, it was the people are selling it, and those people who knows about it, they don't know anything about it. So, one thing I want to tell you concerning this, our analysis is that if we did not take the appropriate action, the school will die naturally. There is competition these days. People, private schools that are being managed by, you see the way and manner they manage the school. With the condition now, most students will not release their money. And Anglican, I want to tell you, they don't have money to provide for the school. Look at the Iliabiye, the school which they are using before. They could not manage it properly. Now, if they want this place, they don't have enough money to spend there. So, there is need for us to take a decisive action.
We have taken it.
Yes.
We have taken action.
So
we have written back to government. Give us your other solution.
Then,
not you. We have taken action.
Okay.
So what's the other solution?
So the solution which I'm suggesting now is that we should take a decisive action towards bringing the school back. Because you have said it, agile and other things which is happening are following up. And by the time the students will have their money, things will be better. Thank you.
Thank you. Number.
The president, the member of the executive, and all my seniors. Olubenga Sunday Ajaja.
Let's listen, please.
93, 99.
This is the high point of our homecoming. Please.
When this issue of taking over was conceived, so to say, I was to act as the secretary on branch. And I looked at the constitution then, and I said, when this idea was to be baked then, I acted as the secretary on branch. And when I look at all the members in that group, starting from the late Chief Baba Ayode, the Baba Ken Jojo, the two principals, the Venerable Adedino, and all of them, even our chairman, Dr. Fagbero, all of them were Anglicans. I think that is where we are first of all making that mistake. Because looking at them, they can easily, so to say, I don't want you to quote me, they can easily maneuver. That is the first error that I think or I suspected. Let me use that word. Even when the two principals were trying to agitate that this thing will not work, this thing will not work, all of them were saying it, that they know Anglican, that this thing will not work.
5. Number 5 is here.
Thank you. Thank you. Alex Olawaye, Senior Prefect, 1979-84 set, and on behalf of my esteemed classmates, I want to say thank you to the National Executive of the Alumni Association for the massive efforts. So, we're at an impasse, period. You know, at an impasse, two sides are involved. There is an impasse because they cannot come to an agreement. Number one, advice, solution, do not return the school to the government. The school got to where it was before your efforts and getting it back from government. The school was great when it was not in the hands of government. The government took the school did not do well under government. Returning the school to government made that eventually our fate would not be better than what it was before when the government managed it. So, first solution. Second solution, we, the alumni, I went to the University of Ibadan College of Medicine, and we had exactly the same problem. And I want to suggest the solution that we use, which is working. You're not going to take the school, if the school is not in the hands of government, the school belongs to the diocese. Look, hard to swallow, we're an important stakeholder, but that's what we are. The ownership, in fact, the reason why I'm speaking on the side of the diocese, the reason why we're at an impasse on the side of the diocese is they feel that their ownership is threatened by us, the alumni. I know we're not threatening them, but that's the perception on the other side. We can partner with them. What we did at UI College of Medicine is that we said, fine, look, the school belongs to you. We only came here to study. So we went to the provost and whoever, the leaders of the school, and said, we want a list of what you think needs to be done to make things better at this school. And they gave us that list. And we went back to the Alumni Association as well. We went back to ourselves and we began to divide the projects from class to class. And we managed the projects, and those projects are being completed successfully. The provost goes around all the alumni meetings every year, thanking everybody. So that is the solution we can use. Let's go to the diocese and the bishop and say, hey, you own the school. We are not threatening that. Look, you can talk about the MOU from today to tomorrow. That's our own side of the impasse. That MOU, they're not going to work with it because that is the very key thing that they think threatens them. Let's work with the diocese and let's begin to work to better the school ourselves. We will manage the budget for anything that we're doing, but we work with the diocese in order to achieve results. Thank you.
We have reported that the BOG and the BOT and other management committees that are supposed to manage the school has been disbanded. So there is no structure in place for us to engage the diocese as of now. And for now, you see, we're looking for solution. I like the solutions you're coming up with, but if I start engaging you, we will not leave here on the steps that the alumni has taken, most especially this school. You know, I've just told you one which I've never made public. This is the vision of the bishop. We held a meeting with him. He was the one that came up with this. I've never made this public. And that is why my sister is saying that we should publish this. So there are a lot of other engagements behind that we have made.
Thank you very much, the President and members of the
We have commissioning to do. A who is coming there.
I want to appreciate the executives for the efforts they have made so far. I think when the MOU that was not, or when this the idea started, I think there was a proviso in that agreement that if after 5 years or a number of years, if the relationship as it were is not working, we can come back to status quo. I think the best thing is that because Dr. Babatola said a lot of things, because he understands the Anglican Communion very well. And if we feel that we'll get to a point where we'll be giving a level or where we'll be giving a kind of half-half participation, we are lying. We are not saying anything. I think the best thing now for us to do is to fight on how to get the school back to the to the government. And by the time we do it, the alumni who are ready, we are ready to work with the school to bring the school to the level that we can still call it a school of our dream. That is just my own take.
What are the contents of the MOU? That was it.
Issue of MOU, I think we should understand the structure of this understanding. There were two levels of MOU. The first one was between the government and the diocese. No, between the government and the diocese. Dr. Fagbeiro signed as a witness to the bishop in that MOU. The second part of the MOU was to be between the alumni and the diocese. That is the one they refer to as not being signed. You know, but I can understand if we think that, yes, because of the understanding that there was an agreement. But on the paper, the MOU that was signed was between the government and the diocese of the one part. And I think I should make that clarification. The second MOU, which was drafted by the technical committee between us and the diocese, it was drafted but not signed. Thank you. Let me tell you, when the technical committee submitted all their papers, including the MOU had essentially only about 3 or 4 lines. It wasn't comprehensive. So we decided to review it, and Mrs. Ajibade submitted recommendations for that MOU, which we now made it bigger. It was that MOU that this sitting bishop, when he came to Lagos, we agreed to refresh the MOU for consideration. As soon as we did the refresh of the MOU, we submitted to him, and that was the last we had of the MOU. That's the point of the matter. The suggestion made by Professor. Yeah. Now, I want to also separate giving back to the school from managing the school. If it's about project for the school, the diocese need not ask us. The diocese need not ask us. But we can also do what you have said about going to them. Is there anything else you need in terms of infrastructure? We will do. But is that what makes a school? No. Projects does not make a school. The first thing, the point I'm going to make here is, what is the strategy driving the school end to end? Apart from projects. We have not stopped donating projects. We have not stopped, and we are not going to ever stop because we don't want the school to run down. Now we are at the point, Financial Council Chairman is here, we are at the point where we are actually now raising money to maintain projects that we have done in the school that are not even being used. To avoid the thing from running down. They are not being used. But what the school does not have, explain to ourselves. 5 years on, the school is unable to attract students. That is why the issue is, we are not talking about projects. What is the strategy to admit students? Planning to convert it to a guest house. Now, I spoke to the right-hand man to the bishop. I said, what's the meaning of this? The man said to me, if you put a teacher in that house the way you guys have done it, the teacher will not come to school again. That's the mentality of a professor in the church. Do you understand me? So the issue is beyond projects. If you think about projects, no problem. We will continue to do projects, and it is not stop. Look at what 7074 have done to the Adinal Master's house. If you put house master there, ordinarily that house master should not come out of that house to see the students. If that is the thinking. In that to make the school look good, we are moving to the left side of the school. We go to Mason. Do do the mason house, do the mason house, master's house, and so that they complement one another. That is projects. That is infrastructure. What is it that is making students not to come to Christ school? I was with the bishop last night, and I engaged him about this issue of game section that is admitting students into. He said he has already been able to recruit 70 students into the girls' school.
Wow.
As day students, GS1 and GS2. 70. And that's all. That's, as far as it's concerned, that's the pass mark.
But now, we want to go to Financial Council. So, I will call on Mr. Ronti Omole to give us just 15 minutes report. If he has more, he can do that at the AGM.
We also agree that we need to recruit a full-time alumni executive secretary. Because if we want to grow in bounds, we must have a full-time somebody that works closely with the EXCOs and liaise with all these multiple activities. Because we have various committees that we need